In this first tutorial, I will show you how I colorized a 1968 photograph of my mother, at the time aged 21. This colorization process is achieved on an iPad Pro actually, using an Apple Pencil and Photoshop for iPad. I had previously colorized and restored a 1937 photograph of my grandfather who was in the Navy. The process took me about 3 hours, but I've shortened this video so you don't have to go through the entire thing. In this first part, I will show you how I remove stains and damage from the original photo. I really enjoy using the healing tool, which is the band-aid on the left-hand side in Photoshop. It allows you to remove stains and damage. The best way being to choose just the right brush size for the stain and literally just click to remove it. We will now open a new layer for the eyes and select the brush tool. We now open the color palette and pick a color. Here I chose blue. And now, with a hardness of 100% and the right size of brush, we're going to use the brush tool to paint over the eyes. In the layer options, select multiply in blend mode and reduce the opacity to maybe 60% or 40% or whatever you feel is best for this. I now create a mask for this layer to just clean the outline and make adjustments to the eyes. Start reducing gradually the size of the brush and the hardness as you go into detail. I think the result looks quite good. We will now repeat the process and color the lips. You create a new layer, pick a color and brush size. Apply color roughly over the lips and we'll fine-tune it. And once more, we change the layer blend mode to multiply and reduce the opacity to a level we're happy with. Once again, we clean the edges as previously. Just like applying makeup, use your discretion. Not that I've actually ever put makeup on. Now reducing my brush size and hardness as I get into finer detail. Looking back at it, I think these lips need a little bit more work. Fine-tune the work until you're happy with the shape. Here I've decided to play a little bit with the curves and increase the contrast somehow. The photo has aged and has lost some of its contrast. And I'm also converting it to black and white because at the moment it's sepia, but I think it's more of a problem with my scanning process because the original photo is actually black and white. Now onto the jumper. We create a new layer, pick a color and brush size, and repeat the process just as we did for the lips and eyes. Paint over, change the layer blend mode to multiply, reduce the opacity, and clean the edges. I recommend playing with both the hue saturation adjustment and the color balance adjustment for each layer, as well as the opacity to help it blend more seamlessly. For the best result, just make sure you keep the saturation fairly low. Too high saturation just doesn't look natural. To blend difficult edges, for example the skin and the hairline, I recommend using a very soft brush with a low opacity. Now that I've explained the process for both the eyes, the lips and also the jumper, just apply the same process for each different part of the photo. The skin and the hairline are the most laborious part of the process, yet they are crucial for overall quality and finish. As you can see, I cannot quite make up my mind on the color of this jumper. Now let's bring out those pearls. Mum has this cool sort of red stain in her iris. Nothing wrong with it, she's had that since birth. And now let's tackle the hair. The tidying of the hair is the hard part. Make sure you zoom in, and I'm using the Apple Pencil here, which really helps massively. What do you think? Shall we give Mum a modern makeover? Maybe not. The detail while cleaning the hair is really such a fine detail that I'm not sure you guys can really see. Still a few marks that I'd like to remove from this photo, so using again the healing tool, which is the band-aid on the left hand side, I can easily remove any marks. I will now stay in silence and let you enjoy the rest of the process. The last touch on this colorization is to add a bit of blush on the cheeks. I was very reluctant to try this by fear of turning my mum into a clown, but I think the result has really helped and lifted the whole portrait. And here is the finished result. I hope you enjoyed this process as much as I have, and please subscribe and like if you did.